Coming up, we have stories about paying for dinner, having your cake and eating it too, following your husband's location, school bullies, second-class citizens at a barbecue, giving your ex closure while engaged. That doesn't sound like a recipe for disaster if I've ever heard. It's going to be fun. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from AITAH and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Pay for My Friend's Meal After She Invited Me to Dinner? So my friend, 29 female, and I, 28 male, went out to dinner the other night. She invited me out to this nice place, which is cool because we hadn't hung out in a while, and I was really looking forward to catching up. When we got there, she ordered way more food and drinks than I did. I kept it light since I'm trying to save money, so I only ordered a main course and water. Okay, time out. OP's under the assumption right now that they're going Dutch because OP said I'm ordered light because I'm trying to save money. At the end of the meal, the waiter brought the check and my friend looked at me and asked if I'd cover this one. I was kind of thrown off, especially since she invited me out. I told her that I wasn't planning on paying for both of us and reminded her that she was the one who suggested dinner. She got really upset and she said she thought it was obvious she meant I should pay because I make more money than she does. I do, but it's not by a large margin and I'm also trying to budget right now. She ended up paying for her share but called me stingy and said I was being unfair. Am I the astronaut for refusing to pay for her meal when she was the one who invited me out? Hells no. Nope. And I think you just learned an important lesson about this friend. She's not so much a friend as she is a leech. The only reason you got the invite for dinner is because you were the guy who could pay for it. The only reason she chose the place she chose is because you're the guy who's going to pay for it. The only reason she ordered what she ordered was because you're the guy who's going to pay for it. You're her friend zone sugar daddy. What would you call that? An idiot. An idiot. Well, it sounds like the first time this has happened, but I'm like, my goodness. If this friend got that upset, it's the first time it happened to him, maybe. Maybe this is just what she does. Maybe she just goes through friends and expects them to treat her. But look, if he had asked you, that'd be one thing. But to invite someone out to dinner and then to get pissed because they aren't going to cover your meal whenever you splurged is a little bit of this. It's a little bit delulu to think that that is okay and then to get pissed off, which is a tell that she thought the whole time he was going to pay for it. So when she was ordering, she's like, yes, I'll take the lobster and the cocktail shrimp. And we'll have a bottle of your finest champagne and the caviar. If she expected you to pay for this the whole time, you would expect her to not go ham. Look at the menu and be like, yes. That's not a friend. That's not a friend. A friend does not treat you like this. A friend does not try to take advantage of someone else. That's just an acquaintance who screws you over. What's the opposite of a friend with benefits? A friend with detriments? Is that what it should be called? It seems a little technical for it. What would the opposite, the other end of the spectrum of a friend with benefits be? Is a friend with negative benefits? Splendid daddy? Hey, I like it. Food daddies, meal ticket. I mean, a friendibus, an aspartame buddy. But we can't, by the way, we can't be friends if you well done a filet. I'm a mid-rare guy. Probably lean more on the rare side. Risa, I'm waiting for the taco daddy. I want to start a food truck, and that's what I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it Taco Daddy. I already call my ride the daddy wagon. With this economy, why are you trying to spend so much money? She's not. She's trying to get other people. Beer today, what's the other side of this transaction? Don't know. I mean, the way that OP presents this, it's very my friend, 29, and I. That's it. It's just a friend. It's not like she asked him out on a date. There's no kind of hinting that directions. It's two platonic friends. But clearly she doesn't even see him as a friend. She just sees him as a literal meal ticket. Literal meal ticket. And OP, I'm going green flag for you here for saying no. For being like, no. You ordered everything. Which means that you weren't just trying to get me to pay for your meal. You were trying to screw me over. That sucks. That's not a friend thing to do. A friend in greed isn't a friend indeed. There you go. I like it. I'm going NTA official. Official. I said NTA. We're making it official here. Not the astronaut for UOP. This is a shitty thing that she did to you. Would be going low to no contact with this acquaintance. That's a downgrade from friend level. Do not refer to this person as a friend anymore because they are actively acting against everything that it means to be your friend. They are an acquaintance, somebody who tried to screw you over. So maybe even knocked down one more level to the warning kind of category, like actively avoid area. Actively avoid. Hey there, it's Dusty with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for giving my ring back after my fiancé made a comment to his guy friends regarding why we haven't gotten married? My fiancé and I, both 30, have been together for 8 years and engaged for 4 years. We got engaged right before COVID really hit, and obviously that put a huge halt on any sort of planning, and then from there forward, life events halted it more. Became homeless, ended up pregnant and having our child. Now we are back on our feet, but not financially where we could be yet. Back roughly 5 months ago-ish, I brought up marriage and basically approached the idea of having a backyard wedding and a potluck. Basically going cheap because I don't really care so much about the wedding or price or whatever. I just want to wear a pretty dress and have all eyes on me and marry the love of my life. I don't mind expensive bells and whistles. When I brought it up, he told me that wouldn't be a bad idea and that we could probably try planning for July-ish 2025. Okay. But we haven't really talked about it since that point as other shit came up. Here's the issue though. About a month ago, we went down to our neighbor's home, people who have grown to be really good friends since we moved here 1.5 years ago. I was hanging out with the neighbor's wife and her best friend. My fiance was hanging out with a group of 3 to 4 guys having beers and working on vehicles. Well, one of the guys there was talking about his wife and said, once you get married, everything stops. I overheard in the middle of the conversation, so I have no idea what stops during marriage, but it was a negative comment regardless. But anyways, my fiance then starts laughing and goes, that's why I've been dragging my feet on marriage. And the guys just laughed and said, don't do it, man, it's a trap, etc., etc. It really hurt me, but I figured it was just a locker room talk and tried my best to move on. But like I couldn't let it go. It sat in the back of my head. So a couple of weeks ago, I brought up getting married again and just ran some ideas by him on simple things, like what he saw our wedding colors being. And he shut down a bit and said something to the effect of, I think we need to weigh our pros and cons of being married first, and shut down the conversation. Oof. Instant plunge to my gut, honestly. So I walked outside to calm myself down, but I just couldn't shake it, honestly. So I went back inside and calmly handed him my ring back and asked him what he wanted for dinner. Oh, that's the most nonchalant, we're not engaged anymore breakup I have ever witnessed. Here's your ring back. What'd you want for dinner? What? I didn't want to make a big deal, so there was no yelling, no crying, nothing. I was calm and moved on. But he instantly asked me what I was doing and why I gave the ring back. So I mentioned his comment to his buddies about dragging his feet and now his comments about needing to wait and weigh the pros and cons before going through with anything, and told him I don't want to wait. Nor do I want to get my hopes up for a marriage that he's clearly changed his mind about. So I would rather he have the ring back and go into this without the sound of wedding bells in my head. Let's just move on, basically. We could still be together, but I don't want my hopes up. Well, he got extremely defensive. He started saying, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, or you're being extreme for no reason. Am I the astronaut? Top comment here. You called him out, and now, apparently, he's going to backtrack instead of double down. Don't fall for it, OP. If you marry him, if he begged you to, theoretically, he'll just present you for it. Honestly, people are so silly because having a baby together is way more of a commitment than marriage. And you've been together for 8 years already. He's still afraid of verbally committing? This paperwork and a single party is the line in the sand for him? The law already considers you married anyway, so it can't be divorce settlements he's worried about. He just doesn't want commitment of marriage, well, common law marriage, if their state recognizes that. Good for you on clarifying what the relationship is, and if you had the finances for it, I'd say leave and just co-parent because you deserve a partner who loves you enough to make that choice. NTA. Now, yeah, it's matching energy. Yeah, it was a warranted response because it was tested. Like her observations during his locker room talk with the boys were tested later on. She's like, okay, is he truly dragging his feet? Let's test this out. Mentioned some things, and then he shut it down. So she validated it at that point. I call bullshit on him, though. I call bullshit on his locker room talk. You know, they were talking about sex. That's not a secret. It's not, yeah, they were talking about how it stops once you get married, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's why I'm dragging my feet, man, blah, blah, blah. His let's wait, or I think we really need to weigh the pros and cons. That's a huge red flag. Him saying, let's weigh the pros and cons. Yeah, it's, okay, signing a paper. There's legal obligation. If you're in a state that doesn't recognize common law marriages and you're tying everything together, if shit would hit the fan later on, yes, it's going to be more painful. But you guys already have a kid together. We're like, what is he worried about? What is it? What is he worried about? I don't understand. You know who I would like to have come up and give some feedback on this? For the first time tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got her here. The one and only, equally as exhausted as I am, Candy Thunder. Hi, Tighter. We got the heat lamps on for you again.
Oh, awesome.
Chantel says he's cheating. Is he cheating?
Oh, I don't know. But here's what I do know. I know that if I wasn't in a room, you would not talk about our marriage or the potential marriage that we may have had like this. Like, you wouldn't speak about our relationship in this way.
No.
And I know that for 100% certainty.
I wouldn't say something to someone else that I wouldn't say to you.
There you go. I don't know. I would not have stayed 8 years if marriage was something that I wanted out of a relationship. If two people don't want marriage and they want to be together, like, that's great. But if you want marriage and he doesn't, then you have to decide if you're still compatible at that point. But if I want to be married, like, I'm good enough to have a kid with, but not good enough to go to the courthouse with and like sign a document, that doesn't make sense. And also, don't ask people to marry you if you don't want to marry them, or even get married in general. Like, that's just, like she said, that he got her hopes up. She wanted to do this. She wanted to have a day that was about their love and their relationship. She wanted to put on the dress, and she wanted to get married. And he was like, I don't know. Find new friends, dude, I guess, because
yeah,
not every marriage is like a dead bedroom. But I mean, like, life is hard. And if you find someone that you can do life with, and, you know, they help fill up your cup, then lock that shit down. That's all I'm saying. And don't let it go, because just being shitty to the person that's there for you. And she's still saying she wants to be in a relationship with him, which if he takes marriage off the table, I don't see this relationship lasting, because that's something that she's having to give up. That's something she's having to sacrifice on. And she doesn't have to do that. Like, she does not have to sacrifice what she wants out of life to give this guy who talked shit about her and their relationship. Like, she doesn't have to do that.
Yeah. And Sergeant Mac, to your point, Sergeant Mac said, I'm not getting cheating vibes. I think his boy's got in his head. And now he's backing out. And I agree with that too. But you can't do that as a husband and as a father.
Right.
You can't. You can't do that kind of shit. Your first priority is there in your inner circle. Yeah. That's where you're going to have the most open and honest communication. And yeah, if you were puffed up, peacocking, and just talking shit in front of the boys, that's one thing. But for her to validate it and come back, I wish it would have been a deeper conversation. You know what I mean? I wish she would have come back in with the ring in her hand and be like, okay, here's where we're at. Here's what I'm about to do, and here's why. Yeah. What do you have to say?
I think she came back in with the ring in her hand and handled it the way she did, because she's obviously very hurt. And she's like, if I go in there guns blazing, it's just going to be this crazy fight. And I mean, I'm just speaking as a woman, like, and sometimes, like, that's not what we want. Like, that's not what we're after. Like, that's not the point. And so she did this. She's like, fine, I'll just meet you at the level that you're at right now and try to work through what I'm feeling. But obviously this is going to come back around. Obviously this is going to be a much bigger argument, and they're going to have to find out if they're actually compatible.
Yeah. I have a prediction.
What's that?
I think based on his response to her giving the ring back, he's now dealing with an ego blow. His ego, regardless of the reasoning behind giving that ring back, the symbolism of receiving a ring back, his response to was pretty, it was to escalate. And I think it's going to now be a problem until it either destroys this relationship or they work through it.
Right.
Now, if he still allows other people's chirping to get in his ear and have anything to do with his relationship, it's doomed from the get-go. Like
Right.
it just is. And if he's already too far into that, it's done. But if he can, maybe this is the pain that creates change. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
8 years. That's a long relationship. And like I said, if you're happy to just spend those years together and like that's not your main goal, then that's fine. Like that works because those two people have an understanding. But if you want marriage out of a relationship and you have a kid together and you're living together, like what the f- is the problem? Like why don't you want to be married?
Right.
I guess that's the point. And then to hear, like, she has these fears already, and then she hears him say this and he vocalizes what she's already been feeling. So of course that's not gonna like just go away. That's gonna haunt her mind. Like that's gonna be the constant thing that she's thinking about. And I don't know. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed if I overheard. I never would, but if I overheard some like you saying that about our relationship, I would be upset.
Yeah. 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 And Dr. Sweets, says, I mean, would the baby be around if he hadn't proposed? Maybe not.
Yeah.
It seems like he used the proposal as a way to like reserve her, take her off the market.
Right.
Right. But he doesn't want to be trapped, or he wants the freedom of being able to change his mind later, because that's the only thing that would prevent him from going through with being married. Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. But this is like the definition of have your cake and eat it too. Like you have everything, but like I said, if you want marriage and the other person doesn't, like you are no longer compatible at that point.
Yeah.
And that should have been what she said to him. Like not just giving a ring back and be like, well, we can still be together. Like, because that's not really what you want. You've already stated what you want in this post. And so you're compromising what you want, and that will come back as resentment. There's just no way that it doesn't.
Yeah. It's going to get rough.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think she took the first step right
Yeah.
now. And now
she's recognized that she is unhappy, and she's unhappy because of this reason.
Yeah.
And she's, like you said, she's taken that first step to say, this is no longer what I want, because I've heard how you feel about it. I've heard what you think about it. And sex does not stop after you get married. Like, for sake, you're adults.
That was punny too.
Haha. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's such a cop out, for, in my opinion, that it's like sex stops after marriage. Shit happens. Life gets busy. Like, you have to
I think
put
that's it.
energy and
Yeah.
effort into things that you want to make out of your relationship. No, it's not just going to keep being easy like it was in your honeymoon stage. It's going to it's hard work.
But 8 years into a relationship, like what changes
Yeah.
day to day?
I'm like, if your
they
sex
get
life
married?
is still good, it's probably still going to be good
Yeah,
after marriage.
you're
Like,
fine.
You're
And-
8
and
years in.
Marriage is tough, right? But I think it's relationships are tough.
Yeah.
And you can be together for, 8 years, and you've been through it together. You guys were homeless together. You're raising a kid together. Like
Right.
you've been through it. Like you should be able to work through this, but it's going to take him swallowing
Right.
some pride and being like, look, I f***ed up and I didn't mean what I said. I was just posturing and just trying to be one of the boys, but you are my everything. I've already committed in my heart to you for the rest of my life, and doing it on paper doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just scared of making a legal commitment. And if that's what he feels, say that. It's really hard for guys to communicate feelings, though. It's really tough for
Right.
people to communicate feelings, period. But guys especially, because when we're brought up, we're not brought up to openly communicate feelings. It's
We're
something
changing that though.
yes, we are. We are
The
changing
world
that.
is changing.
It is changing, but it's still tough. And we have conversations about this. For me, communicating my feelings is not something that I really started to figure out or get decent at, even not good, but decent until like my 30s. It takes work. It takes time, but pain creates change. And now, hopefully we get an update someday and it's like, hey, here's what he did. He sucked
Right.
it up and made it right. And now we're married and we're happy and we're stable and blah, blah, blah. Or it's going to be his ego got the better of him and this whole thing fell apart.
I mean, his ego already got the better of him because he already went to like defensive, doubling down on like what he said. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he's got two things to come back from now. I don't know. My only thing is find somebody who has your back when you're not in the room. Find someone who speaks life into you when you're not in the room, because that's going to be your relationship.
Yeah.
That's going to be the person that's your partner, not somebody that just sees you as a placeholder for what they think a relationship should be.
Yes. Not the person who takes care of his kid.
And if you don't have that, work towards that, or find somebody else, or be single, because I don't know.
0 is greater than -1.
Yeah.
Hey there, it's Dusty with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for looking at my husband's location and then questioning him about why he was there? All right, here we go. I, a female married to my husband, 40-year-old male, followed his location in Life 360 and then asked why he was where he was and what he was doing. Backstory, my husband James and I have been married for almost 6 years, together for 8. Last winter, he quit his job, changed his phone number, packed his things, and left. Dropping a red flag for that. I was very hurt and felt abandoned by this because you were quite literally abandoned from this. He ended up coming home 4 days later when I paid for his travel as he had spent all of his money. Crazy, I know, but I do really love him and felt that everyone was allowed one midlife crisis. In case you didn't get the message on the first round of red flags, here's another one. Everybody should be allowed one midlife crisis. That's an interesting concept. I worked for the same company as him, and a few months later, they let me go, stating they were moving in another direction. I always felt it was in retaliation for my husband quitting. Could be, and if you could prove it, that'd be something. Moving forward, I got a new job and had to train out of town for a couple of months. While I was gone, I saw messages between my husband and the woman it turned out that he had left me for. She did not meet him when he left, but then immediately talked about coming to where we live to be with him. I flipped out and have been on a thin edge of sanity since. I have gone through his phone, I've tracked his movements. I feel like I'm losing my mind and I don't know why I even stay. We were all thinking that, honey. But we have been relatively peaceful, feeling safer and less anxious. I haven't felt the need to check his phone or question him constantly. We've been doing better. Then, this morning, I saw in Life 360 when he had gone by his former workplace on his way to work. It was very early in the morning and they were closed. He obviously went there to meet someone, so I questioned him about it. He admitted he went there, admitted he stopped by to see somebody just to say hi. This wouldn't be so strange if it weren't 3:30 in the morning. I think this person has a serious crush on my husband, and I don't know if he reciprocates that, but I know it feels very strange and wrong to me. Why does he need to leave work an hour and a half early when it is a 22-minute drive? So am I the asshole for looking at his location and asking him why he was there and what he was doing? Edited to add, the woman he left for was not real. It was a catfish scammer wanting money from him. The first of many he would be caught up in before I found out. The person he went to see last night was the gay male manager of the location he used to work at. They are friends. He is very adamantly not gay or bi. Freaks out if even slightly questioned about that. There are financial reasons involving my son in a vehicle that I can never just wash my hands from. He purchased a very expensive vehicle in my son's name. My son thought he was co-signing, but is the primary. It is ruining his credit. It's behind on payments and has been repossessed twice already. We have spent huge amounts of money getting it back and having repairs to it. It's a nightmare of its own. This just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Before getting into updates here, so he got catfished. And then left for how long? 4 months? 4 days. Left for 4 days and ran out of money. And then she had to pay for him to come back. And now is finally at a place where she doesn't feel like she has to check his location and shit, but just peeked in and did. And saw that he went somewhere at 3:30 in the morning. Honey. He went to this place at 3:30 in the morning. You're not sure if he reciprocates? Reciprocates. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's not the only Kate's thing he does. Just saying. And also, he told you he was going to see the manager, dude, friend. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe anything this person says? And why? Okay, hold on. You can't wash your hands from him because of this car thing where he purchased a very expensive vehicle in your son's name. Why? You have to understand that so long as you keep this other person in your life at a proximity where they can do damage, they will do damage. There is a precedent. What positives exist here? We've heard nothing positive at all. Nothing. I think, okay, so the question, am I the astronaut for looking at my husband's location and then questioning him about why he was there? No, you're not the astronaut for doing that. You are an asshole to yourself for still being in this relationship. That's where I'm at. What do you think, Candy Thunder? I'm dumbfounded here. I am going to go ahead and do this. I'm giving him the brozo because brozo. What the hell? The only reason he hasn't left you is because the last time he tried, he only made it 4 days without your help. Candy Thunder, what say you?
I'd say congratulations, you caught a leech.
This is the biggest leech I ever done saw.
I'd say I understand the. You know what? I don't. Like, if this was me and I had no way out, my ass would be at work 24/7 to get the out of this situation. This is a leech. He is not bringing anything to your life except cheating, taking your son's credit and it beyond recognition. And you're just like, maybe I should leave him. No, you should leave him. You should leave him yesterday. You should leave him the day before. You should leave him tomorrow. It's like, get the hell out. Let the car go. Let the car go. And however long that takes to financially recover, whatever you have to do to help your son through this. 0 is greater than -1. And this guy is like a -3,000. Like, this is the worst possible situation that you could find yourself in. And you are 100% ask on one to yourself for staying in this situation, for even paying his way back. No, everyone is not allowed a midnight crisis. You are allowed that. A midlife crisis, like not in this way. This is not a midlife crisis. This guy came home, packed up all his shit, left for 4 days, and then cried because he didn't have a way home.
Wait. Left for 4 days because he got catfished.
He got catfished by a scammer. He didn't run out of money. He got catfished. This is a train wreck. And you have got to go.
Person is a train wreck.
You have got to go.
Also, what's a midnight crisis?
I don't know, but it sounds like it involves like Oreos and a gummy. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, is like when you wake up and have to pee really bad? Like,
a midnight crisis is when you're out of Oreos or Tim Tams.
Tam Tams.
Tam Tam.
Also, I'm just now seeing husband. I read it. I knew you guys were married, but the gravity of that is just hitting me now as well. I'm seeing that they're married.
Oh, no, yeah. They've been married for 6 years. And together for 8.
You've been married and you still allowed him to do all this shit. Wait.
So we're past 8 years. We're good.
So this person who was like, I will never wrong you. I dedicate my life to you. I am yours and you are mine from this day until my last day. Did all this shit. And you're like, yeah, I think we're okay now.
We're peaceful. Honey, this ain't peace.
Honey.
This is drama. And this is... No, this ain't it. Put me in a house by myself.
You want to gauge the health of your relationship? Look at your credit.
There you go.
Hey there, it's Dusty once again with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for threatening to sue both the school and the family of my daughter's bully? I am 30 male and my husband, 33 male, has an 11-year-old daughter who's been through severe bullying at school. It just kept getting worse. Started off with just name calling, but it's gotten worse over the past few weeks. Context, she's adopted, which is something we've always been open about and celebrated as part of her story. Recently, some kids found out about her adoption and started saying horrible things, telling her stuff like her birth mother didn't want her. They tell her that she's unwanted, tell her she's a reject, which is not the case. Her mother loved her very much to the point she literally gave her life so she could be here. If this wasn't bad enough, a few days ago, she came home in tears with her hair butchered. Yeah, that's assault. Boop, there it is. The line was crossed. They'd cut off 2 inches of her ponytail in class, all while taunting her names and laughing at her reaction. They will follow her through the halls to entertain her on a regular basis. Both my husband and I have been in touch with the school about the bullying more times than I can count. I emailed, called, even showed up in person to speak with teachers and the principal, but all I got were empty promises that they'd look into it. Nothing changed, and my daughter's mental health has taken a hit. She's anxious, struggling to sleep, and now begs us not to send her to school. Finally, out of frustration and feeling like no one was taking this seriously, we reached out to a lawyer to explore legal action against both the school and the bully's family. Only when the school and her parents learned that we were considering a legal action did they start to act. That is such horseshit. Suddenly, the school calls me to say they're moving the bully out of my daughter's class and claim they had a talk with her. The girl's parents reached out too, saying they'd talked to their daughter and promised it would stop. But honestly, I don't believe them. It feels like they're all saying this just to get me to back off and avoid the legal consequences. Well, yeah. I worry that once the dust settles, things will go right back to how they were, and my daughter will still be dealing with this. My family thinks I should give the school and parents a chance now that they're finally taking action, but I feel like it's all for show. So, am I the astronaut for moving forward with legal action, even though the school and the bully's parents now claim they're handling it? No. Nope, 100% no, and here's why. You're right that this is all for show, and you've scared them into finally taking action now that they know this lawsuit is coming down the pipeline, but how many chances did they have to fix it before and didn't? That's the first point. The second point here is because they didn't act, even though this scary situation had been reported to them multiple times, the precedent was set that they will handle the next kid like this too. And guess what? The next kid might not be alive to tell the tale. The too late for the next kid may be too far too late. You reported the problem, they assaulted her, and the school was willing to do nothing or look into it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but as a parent, after the first time I said something to the school, they said they'd look into it, and it happened again, I'm not going back to the school. I'm going to school board. I'm moving up the chain to create action because the person I asked to take action the first time didn't do it. Don't give me that person again. I need to talk to that person's boss. I need to talk to the superintendent. I need to talk to school board, let them know what the is going on here because the entire district is getting ready to suffer for this. The entire district. Let's hear from teachers. They'll pretend it was the first or second time. OP's got proof. OP can document, or OP hopefully has a log or can probably get it based on location or go back and look at conversations and can create a log of how many times it's happened and how many times OP went to the school and reported it and begged them to do something about it. That's all this takes. They had a chance. Yeah, Mystic. They had their chance. Phil Hermit Fairy, you could be right there. Magic Drop, you had to get a lawyer to get anything done? Cake, that school seems too into pleasing all parents than doing what is right. So it probably came down to, who's the bully's parents, that kind of thing. So yeah, if the school board conversation didn't work for me, DESE would be the it'd be the third step. Escalate, escalate, escalate. Now, your attorney's going to do that for you. Everybody's getting involved now. They had their chance to fix it. They didn't, and this is what happened. It could have been way worse, and that's the point. They had no problem using scissors to cut off her freaking hair in class while taunting her. What's the next thing? And also, what if one of them was just feeling extra spicy that day and it wasn't the hair? What if it was something else that they physically harmed? It doesn't matter. They allowed this to happen inside of school with prior knowledge that there was likelihood of this kind of thing happening and did nothing. They are 100% liable. I'm not a lawyer, but if I was sitting on this jury, I'd be like, yeah, pay up, school. Now, the bully's parents, that becomes a different conversation, right? Because as a parent, you're liable for what your child does, right? While they're a minor under your care. But as a parent of the bully, yes, obviously you have a lot to unpack there. And maybe this is the first time they're hearing that their kid is a shit stick and bullying people in school. I doubt it, but maybe. They've got their own fish to fry there. They've got their own troubles to go through there. But if that bully's parent, well, a bully's a bully for a reason, right? So it probably comes from home problems that started all of this in the first place. They're probably acting out because of shit that's going on at home. But let's say if we found out that one of our kids was doing something and we only found out when we were getting sued for it and had no prior knowledge and we could prove that we had no prior knowledge at all, I'd be suing the school too. Because they knew my kid was doing something, never told me, never did anything to stop it. The school up hard. And I'm sorry, I just innately trust that my child is going to be protected while they're at school. And I know there's crazy shit that happens, but this kind of thing when they had warning that it was happening and still did nothing, that's a complete failure of trust. That's a failure to be a decent human being. So, school admins, there you go. Yeah, you're not only legally liable, probably here, you're also garbage humans. Nicole, happened at a bus stop. Yeah, I know there's a lot of cases to be made for homeschooling. There's a lot of people around here who do that, actually. Press charges and then move to a different school. Oh, for sure. I think after this is all said and done, I can't imagine that they would stick around there. Doroshko says, please don't trust that. As a teacher, I spend so much time advocating for my students' protection. Well, that's terrifying. Anybody involved with allowing this to happen who knew there was a problem, straight up to ASCOM 1. DFHB failures. OP, you were 100% NTA. And I hope there's enough pain created in the legal system to create some actual change. This is unacceptable. Hey there, it's Dusty with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for declining leftover food at my boyfriend's friend's barbecue after the group ate first right in front of us? Tell me your thoughts on if this was rude. I, 37 female, met my now ex, 38 male, ex's friends for the first time at a pre-drink BBQ he invited me to join him on. They seemed nice enough, but prior to getting there, my ex said that his friend messaged and said the host feels bad because they're having a barbecue and there may not be enough food for everybody. So if we see food lying around after, not to feel bad that we were not giving food. I said this is fine, of course. I assumed he meant that they'd have already eaten and there would be evidence of said barbecue around. We get there and it's clear they haven't eaten yet. 8 people were invited of the 12 guests to eat. 4 of us were not. When it came to the meal time, the 8 of them sat around a nicely set table and chowed down, like filled their plates and ate without making eye contact with us while we stood on the outside of the table chatting. I thought it was so weird. My ex did not, I guess. It was awkward because we were actually starving. When the meal was done, the host got up and said, "Guys, please help yourself." AKA to the leftovers, LOL. I know people are all raised differently, but this struck me as odd. My ex went and got some food on the plate and came up to me and said, "Come eat." And for some reason, I just couldn't get myself to do it. I don't even know these people, and it was so uncomfortable. I politely said, "No thanks," and carried on my conversation. Well, my ex was so bothered by this reaction from me, it ruined the whole evening for him, and we actually broke up after that. He broke up with me. He had originally said that we would just eat together at the street festival, so I was bothered that he put me in that position and then was mad at me for choosing not to eat and grabbing a snack on the street. Is this culturally normal behavior for some people? I live in Canada. I would never eat in front of a guest in my home and not feed them, but is this normal behavior for some? Was I rude or wrong to do this? Or was he gaslighting me by being mad and making me feel like a rude person for declining food?
It was crazy.
Hold up. Okay, hold up. Making the 4 people who weren't part of the original 8 wait and watch you eat, and then when everybody's had their fill, then being like, "Okay, guys, it's open for you now. B team, jump on in there. The royal family has eaten. The help can have all the scraps." Queen Marjorie, frickin'. The leftovers from today's feast will be given to the poorest in the kingdom. Yeah, that was you, OP. You were made to feel like a pauper. You were made to feel like a freaking beggar. You were made to feel like there was some kind of charity barbecue event going on here. I just don't understand why. I see the problem here personally in your ex. The fact that your ex wasn't bothered by this tells me he puts himself in this position frequently. And you got to wonder what you're getting into at that point now, right? What do you think, Candy Thunder? Step right up and tell us what you think here. I
just need to know, this will have to be like a text polling, just comment, but would you eat the food after everyone had already eaten? Would you be like, "Oh yeah, dig in, here we go"? Because the way that the ex-boyfriend now, like went and got his plate. It was like he'd done it before, like
Yeah,
he'd been there.
exactly.
And I this would be so uncomfortable. And like she said, and she kind of reiterated this in comments, but she said, you know, I was planning on eating at the street festival, so that's where I ate. But this whole thing, she's like, I didn't expect them to feed me food, but the whole thing was just so awkward and uncomfortable. I'd never experienced anything like that. But no, I'm like, I cannot imagine inviting people to my home. Or even if like we didn't have enough, I'd be like, yeah, just bring like a couple burgers and we'll throw them on for you. Or like if it was like a really last minute thing. But I would give somebody else the food off my plate before I would let them sit there and watch me eat.
Or
like
worst case scenario, you'd be like, like, hey, we specifically have this meal prepped for 8. So we'll catch you next time. Like, don't.
Or come at this
Don't
time.
be like, hey.
Yeah, like this is so weird. It's so weird to me. And it's so weird that they didn't have like a seat and they just had to like stand behind them and just like watch them eat. It's so awkward. It's so awkward.
It's like you were waiting for a table in a really crowded restaurant.
Yeah.
But instead of being able to order your own food, you had to eat these scraps that the table that just got up left behind. Also, even though she didn't eat any food, she still had to use one of those barbecue wet naps afterwards just to wipe the ick off.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I can't. Like, I would give someone my chair. I would give someone my plate. I would give someone my burger. Like, if you're in my home.
But don't you dare touch her tam-tams.
Yeah, those would be hidden away from guests. But I would never invite somebody into my home and like eat in front of them and like and then be like, oh, by the way, I've gotten all I need.
Wait, what would have happened if OP stepped up and started walking over to like make a plate before the peasants were allowed?
Right.
Well, they'd be like, what would have happened? Would someone have jumped up and said no? Like, what would have happened?
What? I mean,
but he got butthurt.
And he's like, eat the scraps. Why won't you eat my friend's scraps? And she's like, because it's weird. And he's like, just eat them.
It's not weird. It's good.
Yeah.
So
good and free.
Do you think he was actually upset that she wouldn't eat it because he wanted her to eat it? Or do you think he was upset because if she didn't eat it, then he'd be the only one standing there holding the plate?
I know. Did the other 2 people eat it? I mean, we need to know. We need to know. And people on Reddit were like, it's not their responsibility to feed you. You don't invite people to your house to have them watch you eat. Like, that's bad behavior.
I still put it on the boyfriend here because he knowingly entered this situation that he was okay with, and that was really awkward for his significant other.
He dumped, like, the reasoning why he dumped her, like, explaining that. Well, you see, what happened was we had to watch people eat.
She wouldn't eat the scraps, man. She wouldn't eat the scraps. And OP, you got to take a little bit of this with you because he dumped you, but ate scraps.
Yeah.
So scraps are good enough for him. You're not.
Because you ate street food from, like, vendor street food instead.
Which was probably more of a case of, look, if you're not willing to dumpster dive for barbecue with me, we can't be together.
Like, you can have what's left on our plates.
It's a way of life. It's a way of life. So yeah, Inti, I thought it might end up as like as an ESH maybe if there was some kind of twist, but no, this is a definite NTA.
Someone said, did the boyfriend do it so he could break up with her? I don't know. That's an epic scheme to break up with.
What
somebody.
a cowardly waste of barbecue.
We're just gonna sit here and watch you eat, so I can make this elaborate breakup scheme. I don't know. Or they're just shitty people, and he's also shitty, and that's who he truly. I don't know. Maybe he's not shitty. I don't know. It's freaking weird.
Hey there, it's Dusty, once again with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for calling off the wedding after my fiance gave his ex closure without telling me? I, 28 female, have been with my fiance, Tom, 30 male, for 3 years. He and his ex, Sarah, were together for 6 years before we met, and she's been a shadow hanging over us the entire time. At first I understood. They shared a lot of history, and breakups can be tough. But we're supposed to be each other's future now. We're planning our wedding, building a life, and I thought he was done with the past. A month ago, Tom got a random message from Sarah asking for closure. He didn't tell me about it, and instead of ignoring it or at least discussing it with me, he responded and met up with her. You douche canoe, what are you doing? And I wonder if she actually asked for closure or if she asked for the breakup sex they never got to have. I found out when I saw a message on his phone that said, "Thanks for last night." My heart dropped. When I confronted him, he swore nothing physical happened, saying he stayed over until early morning just talking. Whoa, hold up here. He stayed the night? They had a sleepover closure?
Talking. Just talking.
I guarantee you, honey,
Just a little.
nothing was closed that night, okay? There was no closure. Everything was wide open. Guarantee it. Closure sleepover. I didn't believe him, and what's worse, he got defensive, calling me insecure for feeling betrayed. Well, yeah, that's the playbook. He says Sarah deserved closure, and that I should understand since he's with me now. The more we talked, the more I realized that he named his dick Closure. No, that's not the line. It just seemed like it made sense. The more we talked, the more I realized he doesn't think he did anything wrong. I tried to explain how hurtful it was that he did this, especially when he didn't need to. But he made me feel like I was the problem for being jealous of a friendship. No, he's trying to gaslight you, and he's just upping the amount of gas into it because it's not working. But here's the kicker. Tom then had the audacity to tell me that this needed to happen so he could truly move on. He even suggested Sarah should come to the wedding as a friend to show everyone that there's no bad blood. I was stunned. How could he think it's appropriate to invite his ex to our wedding, someone he apparently still feels the need to support? I've since called off the wedding, saying I need time to think, but my family and friends are split. Half say I should be able to trust him if he says nothing happened, and others think I'm totally justified. Meanwhile, Tom's been telling our friends that I'm controlling and making a big deal out of nothing, and now I'm second-guessing myself. Am I the astronaut for putting my foot down, or am I overreacting to something that was really innocent? No, honey. Nah, honey, guess what? Closure conversations don't take till the wee hours of the morning. They don't. And closure conversations, if innocent, don't involve the offending party here getting so defensive about things and trying to gaslight you and calling you things like controlling. If this was genuine, that part would have never happened. Would have never called you controlling. Would have never said that you were insecure. He would have come in and been like, first of all, you would have, how did you find out about this? I forget. I read it, but I forget. Oh, she saw a message pop up on the phone. Okay. And XB said, "Thanks for last night." He didn't even tell you about it. There was deceit involved from the get-go. You found out because he had an oopsie daisy and it popped up on his phone. That's it. That's the only reason you know about this at all. And everything that he's doing now is a show to make you feel like you're crazy and overreacting and you should be able to trust him. Your friends and family's opinion on this don't mean jack squat because they are not in the relationship. They can give you feedback and you can take whatever weight you want with that, but their opinions do not mean jack shit. They do not get votes in your relationship. I'm telling you right now, and I'm a dude who doesn't see a lot of the shady shit that happens in the world because I don't connect those kind of dots. I see it. Okay? This is bullshit. You were being cheated on. They were having that one last fling before the wedding, and they're both like, okay, we're good now. We got our closure. So you'd be like, cool coming to the wedding now, right? Because like we're good, right? We're good? We're good? Oh yeah, we're good. No. You're not good. You know what? The ex probably sent the text when she knew they would be together, trying to bust this thing up because if he's married, she can't pull him in again whenever she wants. She wants to keep him reserved. And he fell for it because he's a brozo. Dude's an idiot. That's it. Dude is an idiot. Dude is an idiot. Let's see what Candy Thunder thinks about this. I'm befuddled. You saw it right from the beginning, though, didn't you? That he was full of shit.
Well, yeah, if you're engaged to someone else, you should not be having overnight visits with another woman that they don't know about. I mean, so that's strike one. Strike two is his defensiveness. Strike 3 is him telling his friends that you're controlling.
Mhm.
So he's out. He's done. But the part where you need to be concerned is that his behavior is making you question whether or not you're overreacting to something that really was innocent. That was not innocent. If it was innocent, he would have told you, but he didn't tell you beforehand. He told you after. Actually, he didn't even tell you. He was forced to tell you because you saw something on his phone. So no, this guy is a complete brozo asshole, in my opinion. And I think that you dodged a major bullet here instead of, this is wrong. Like, that. That's why you were upset when you found out about it. But his reaction and his telling everyone that you're controlling is making you question what you already know inside yourself. And is that really someone that you want to be with? Because that's going to happen for the rest of your life. Do you want someone that's always making you feel like you're overreacting when you know that you're not? Like, deep in your soul, you know that you're not overreacting to this. You know that you're reacting like proportionally to the problem. And he's telling you that you're not. And he's telling you this because he more than likely went out and did shit with this woman. Like, literally, something happened. You don't stay at your ex's house overnight and just talk. I'm sorry, but
yeah, there's no way.
There's no way.
No way.
Not someone you were with for 6 years.
And you already know, OP.
And not someone you hide from your fiance. Like, someone that you're hiding is somebody that you know you did something with you shouldn't have.
Yep.
Otherwise, why would you hide it?
And I think you already know. You called off the wedding.
Yep.
You called it off.
Like, this. Like, and this is like the precursor to the story where the woman, what are you blowing?
There's a fuzzy just like randomly flying through the air.
No, I do not believe that this was the first time he met up with his ex during your relationship.
Yeah.
No way.
Nope. And yeah, 3 years. It's been 3 years.
Yeah. Yep. Does not pass the vibe check. Accurate. Like, this is
none.
Don't sell yourself short, and don't underreact to something that you know is wrong. And don't put yourself in the smaller box in order to be in a relationship with someone who does not respect you.
Yeah.
Because if he respected you, he would have never gone to her house, and he never would have been there overnight. If she needed closure, hey, she reached out to me, I would like to meet her at a coffee shop and XYZ. No, he handled this so wrong, which, like someone said, there's no way that this is not the first time.
I think it's a control thing. I think the ex just wanted to know that she still could have him anytime she wanted.
And how many times has she had him?
Yeah. And they both hid it from you. Some people were like, talk to her. She'll tell you the truth. Yeah, she might. She might. If she's trying to destroy this relationship, she might. But I kind of see this as one of these situations where he is a completely different person without that ex being involved in anything. Like, he is at her beck and call. He's completely
who she fell in love with.
Yeah, and he is completely controlled by the ex. Whenever the ex is like, "Hey, I want you to do this," she's got the spell on him, and he'll do whatever under her spell. Which means that spell, 3 years after the fact, ain't going anywhere.
It's really
doesn't matter
funny.
if you're married.
Yeah.
Like, she could do that at any time.
It's really funny that he calls his fiance controlling, but not the person he dropped everything for to run to her house.
Not the person that actively controlled him.
That is controlling him. Like, it's really funny that he can't see the light of day. And for that reason alone, I would be like, this ain't my shit.
Okay, so am I the asking for calling off the wedding? Nope. No, it's done. It's done.
I hope that you call off the entire relationship. Because, I don't know.
Do called off, here, I need to see a statistic on this. Do called off weddings ever result in functional, meaningful, happy relationships? I don't think they do. Christine, we'll get a 9-month update that they got a baby.
The ex and the fiance had a baby together. Yep.
They are both right here for allowing this kind of pain on someone else without giving a single shit. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, You can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.